Hello everybody and a very warm welcome to this discussion on how to build a routine like a UPSC topper for the upcoming Prelims 2025 exam. So in the last video we talked about how the 100 days, next 100 days are going to be very crucial in terms of what you need to do for being ready for Prelims 2025. And we also received some queries ki sir, if you can give us an idea about what kind of routine to maintain, how to manage my time better throughout the day, how much time I should do for static studying, how much time I should devote for current affairs, how much time I should go for testing, should I go for answer writing. So बहुत सारी queries थी. So based on those queries only, this is a short discussion on how you can learn to structure your day effectively to maximize your efficiency for Prelims 2025. Now this video we have made by going through the videos, lectures given by toppers as to how they maintain their own time, and some discussions based on how we thought you can manage your time in the best possible manner, and some common sense ideas जो हैं यहाँ पे, मतलब it's a mixture of the wisdom of the previous year toppers, the wisdom of faculties, and some common sense ideas which will help you there. So सबसे पहली चीज़ we need to see is कि why do you need to have a very specific routine for the next 100 days? It will keep your consistency intact, your performance will not see highs and lows. जितनी performance आप deliver कर रहे हैं वो हर दिन consistent होगी, and which will ensure कि you are able to meet your targets on time. Then it will avoid burnout and procrastination. You will also not feel very fatigued because you have been pushing too hard, and you will also not shift your targets due to procrastination. Every week, every day, every month you will have a specific target as to what you have to finish. It will help you track your progress and retention. Generally students, what they do is the kind of targets they set initially are very ambitious, and when those targets are not met, a feeling of pessimism, a feeling of fatalism, a feeling of nirashavad sets in. So it will help you track your progress and your retention. You will be always aware of where you are in terms of completing your goals. Over optimism or under optimism, though, both these things will not be plaguing your preparation. It will ensure a balanced study across subjects, since your entire schedule is divided as per the requirement of the exam and as per your specific weakness. So there will be a balanced study across all subjects. You will not be stuck only in your favorite subjects and ignoring the areas where you actually need to give some attention. And finally, as it is very clear, it will enhance your time efficiency. Your productivity would be high all the time. So when we went through what the toppers have said on this over the time, obviously every topper has his or her own perspective of how things worked out for them. What worked for them might or might not work for you. But some things which were common across all the toppers over the years was that they had fixed study hours. So this means that there are specific chunks of the day where you are supposed to do a specific type of study, and that thing which there is no compromise. They have active learning techniques, which means that throughout the day, when they are studying for longer hours, they do not study in only one pattern. Sometimes they are doing testing, sometimes they are doing test analysis, sometimes they are working on mind maps, sometimes they are focusing on conceptual things, sometimes they are focusing on more factual things. So how will you manage your active learning techniques? That is up to, that will be a product of how you see this, what are your requirements. So sometimes you are focusing on statistics, sometimes you are focusing on facts, sometimes you are focusing on concepts, sometimes you are focusing on testing, sometimes you are focusing on remedial learning, So even though you are putting in more hours, since you are switching between techniques and approaches of study, so it does not feel repetitive, it does not feel monotonous, and it does not drain your energy. Then obviously you have to have balanced study slots. So again, depending upon your performance in test, you might go for more remedial learning, or if you are doing well in tests, you might go for reading of the next topic. So again, जैसे आपकी टेस्ट में परफॉर्मेंस है, वैसे वैसे आपकी स्टडी जो है वो बैलेंस होती जाएगी. One thing which was integral to all the toppers' approaches was कि revision was a consistent part of their daily preparation. So a certain portion of time they were allocating for revision no matter what. So whatever you do not ignore this habit of the toppers. Then mock test and analysis. In the previous video also we talked about how it is essential for you to consistently test your performance so that you are always aware कि what are the exact areas जहाँ पे आपको effort डालना है. Crowd क्या कर रहा है, market क्या कर रहा है, इसमें बहुत नहीं जाना है. आपको अपनी टेस्टिंग से अपनी जो परफॉर्मेंस एनालिसिस करनी है, अपनी वीकनेस और स्ट्रेंथ पे काम करना है. सो पोस्ट टेस्ट एनालिसिस एंड वीकनेस आइडेंटिफिकेशन एंड देन एज आई सेड इन द लास्ट वीडियो रेमेडियल लर्निंग एंड वैल्यू एडिशन. जहां आपसे गलतियां हो रही हैं, वेयर यू आर मेकिंग मिस्टेक्स, गो एंड हैव अ लुक एट दोज सेक्शंस अगेन. इफ इट इज अ कंसेप्चुअल इशू देन रीड द टॉपिक अगेन केयरफुली. इफ इट इज अ मैटर ऑफ कंटेंट इज नॉट देयर, प्लीज ऐड द कंटेंट फ्रॉम द बुकलेट which you have been practicing with. And finally, a very important thing that if you have everything organized in this manner, you will also get some sufficient time to pay some attention to your physical and mental health. It's still a decent amount of time before you face prelims. So physical and mental health ka bane rehna, avoiding burnout and avoiding procrastination is very important. So as we see go ahead, I have prepared a sample daily routine for prelims focused preparation. Again, I'm not saying that this is something written in the stone. This is something which generally would apply to a student who is not involved in doing classes. So say you wake up at 6 o'clock, for the first half or 1 hour you go for some light exercise, meditation, breakfast, जो भी आपको अपने दिन को शुरुआत करने के लिए चाहिए. You can start your day by reading current affairs. Your brain is really fresh, and you can, it's a good thing to start your day by current affairs, because again this is a content which is being presented to you completely fresh, so it will invoke your interest also. If you do not want to go for specific current affairs booklets and at the start of your day, you can start your day by Indian Express explained section also. कि आज दिन भर में कितने articles आए हैं, let me have a view at the Indian Express explained sections. In this first hour, whatever number of articles you can cover, you cover, and then the rest of the articles you can bookmark for reading much later at night. So then the first serious hour of study, 8 to 9:30 a.m., you pick up the core subject like polity, then half hour break, then again another core subject like geography. What is core and non-core we have discussed in the last video. So the first half of the day would be mostly given to a warm-up start with current affairs, and then 1.5 and 2 hour sessions of proper study where you are completing the core static subjects. Then take the lunch break, relax, and then since you have already had your lunch, right now you are going to feel a little drowsy and sleepy. This is a time where rather than reading a proper material, you can do something interesting, which is your mock test and question practice. Now it may be related to the subject which you have studied in the first half of the day. It may be related to any other thing which you feel that you are already prepared, and you can send it to testing. So in the second half you start with mock test and question practice. This goes for at least 2 hours so that you get a good feel of the exam. 2 hours का mock test रखिए, full exam का थोड़ा feel आएगा आपको. And then from 3 to 4 p.m. you dedicate it to test performance evaluation. This is very important dimension. This is where you have to identify which of the questions you marked wrong because lack of conceptual clarity. So for these type of questions, you reread the topic. Then another type of questions would be that you don't know the answer, you had to skip it. So for them you do value addition. For those type of questions you do value addition from the booklet which you are using. And the third arena where you might struggle would be silly mistakes. Now silly mistakes का तो कोई as such solution नहीं होता है, but when you see कि the questions in which you have not been able to score or you have lost marks are clearly divided into 3 categories, where you had lack of conceptual clarity, where you required content and value addition, and thirdly where you struggled with silly mistakes. So ये जो 1 घंटा है 3 to 4 p.m. इसमें you don't have to study anything. You have to simply chapter wise segregate कि how many questions I am making mistakes, what kind of mistakes I am making, and from which chapters do they belong to. Then from 4 to 5 p.m. you can go for remedial learning. You can cherry pick these topics where you are struggling. You can go and have the conceptual reading for them, or you can do value addition from 4 to 5 p.m. 1 घंटा अपना आप remedial learning कीजिए. Now when you inch closer towards the day, 5 to 7 p.m. you can go for CSAT practice. You can start with comprehension passage, you can start with quant, depending upon which area you are comfortable with. From 7 to 8 p.m. again you can do a current affairs revision where you left off from the morning. तो सुबह भी 7 से 8 और शाम को भी 7 से 8 आपको current affairs देखना है. Then from 8 to 9, resume your remedial learning based on the test performance. From 9 to 10, take a break, relax yourself, complete your dinner, and if you want to watch some podcast or some video on optional subjects, go for it. And from 10 to 11, continue with your revision of weak areas. This last hour, don't study anything fresh. The weak areas which have been identified that day, the areas where you struggled to score well, the areas where you made mistakes, the areas where you skipped questions, those weak areas of the day, they will be seen at the last hour. So generally this is a rough schedule which will work out for you. Start with current affairs, then go for 1.5 hour and 2 hour of heavy reading in the first half of the day, then go for 2 hour testing, then 1 hour analysis of the performance and segregation of the questions, where they are coming from and what type of challenges you are facing, whether it is a conceptual clarity mistake, whether it is a content issue, or whether it is a silly mistake. Then after 1 hour of remedial learning, you can devote 2 hours to your CSAT. Then from 7 to 8, as the day is winding down, you can go for your current affairs revision. Then last hour, remedial learning, and after dinner, throughout the day, whatever the topics you felt you have struggled the most or they have been the most challenging topics, read them once again. So when you start your day and when you end your day, you have not only identified your weakness, you have worked on it twice, and now you are not going to make a mistake in the actual exam. So this is ideally how your day should be organized. Again, this is a very tentative idea. You are always open to make modifications and changes as per when you wake up and when you go to sleep. So the general balance of focus should be more or less the same. Now, some of the other things which you should keep in mind while you prepare your routine is, if you find it difficult to study for longer hour sessions, at least study for 50-minute focused sessions. You can use Pomodoro apps, many time management apps are there, or your own stopwatch can be a tool here. When the second thing which you need to focus is, throughout the day when you are studying, your focus should be to tackle the weaker areas. जैसे आज अगर आप पॉलिटी पढ़ रहे हैं तो जहां आपको हिट हुआ है, जहां आपको प्रॉब्लम्स आई हैं, आपको उस पर ज़्यादा फोकस करना है. मतलब योर प्रायोरिटी शुड बी ऑलवेज वेयर यू आर अनकंफर्टेबल, वेयर यू आर वीक, where you are not scoring, and not those areas where you know that you will score well. Then time blocking, you have to assign specific time for a specific type of activity. Even if you are running behind your schedule, do not use the time which was dedicated for testing for studying. Even if you are running behind your testing schedule, do not swap its time with current affairs revision. So whatever activity is designated for a specific time, that activity should happen in that time. At the end of the day, when you are winding up your day, have a review of what worked for you, what did not work for you, where your plans seemed a little unrealistic, where you struggled. So you need to constantly fine tune your plans. Plans जो rigid होते हैं, पत्थर की लकीर की तरह होते हैं, वो बहुत काम नहीं करते हैं. And finally, over the end of the week, keep a track of how you performed over the week, what was your test score, where you struggled, what major mistakes you are making, and how you have to correct them. So some of the common mistakes which you have to avoid is, never ignore revision cycles and not consolidating previous learning. So when you are revising, always do your revision in a cumulative manner. आज आपने ज्योग्राफी का एक पोर्शन रिवाइज किया है, कल शाम को आपको दोबारा ज्योग्राफी रिवाइज करना है, तो जो आज आपने रिवाइज किया है उसको भी कल थोड़ा सा देखते चलिए. So always try to do revision in a cumulative manner so that the things which you have revised much earlier do not get stale, do not get left behind. तो चीज़ों को साथ में लेके चलिए. Do not overload yourself with multiple sources. As long as you are doing well in the testing through one single source, you can rely on that single source. Multiple sources पे तभी जाइए when your testing tells you that you are consistently struggling in content. Skipping mock test due to fear of low score, please ये मत करिएगा. कितना भी low score आए, याद रखिए कि still February, you still have 100 days to go. So unless and until you see where these low scores are coming from, miracle will not happen on the exam day. तो टेस्टिंग से मत भागिए. यही चीज़ मैं मेंस में भी कहता हूँ कि आंसर राइटिंग से मत भागिए. वो परफेक्ट डे जिस दिन सब कुछ तैयार होगा वो कभी नहीं आएगा. Not analyzing test performance and rectifying mistakes, this is one of the most serious issues. People are running towards test series, people are solving booklets, people are solving questions, but that's it. They are studying the entire topic, they are solving 100 questions, they are only getting 60 questions right, but they are not worried about the rest 40. So if you don't analyze your test performance, if you don't identify which are your weakest and strongest chapters, if you don't set your revision priority as we talked in the last video, then all of this does not amount to anything. Then failing to implement remedial strategies after weak topic identification. जैसे एग्जाम्पल लीजिए कि इफ़ यू हैव गॉन थ्रू द टेस्टिंग इन पॉलिटी, अब पॉलिटी में आपने टेस्टिंग की एंड यू रियलाइज कि सिटीजनशिप इज अ एरिया वेयर यू आर स्ट्रगलिंग. नाउ सिटीजनशिप चैप्टर इज बेसिकली quite factual. You have to mug up things. So if your testing analysis tells you that you are weak factually, you are struggling in this chapter, your next job is to mug it up. So unless and until you implement the feedback which is coming from your testing, simply knowing where you are weak is not sufficient. You will have to act upon it. अगर इन्वायरमेंट का टेस्ट आपने लगाया है और आपको लग रहा है कि आप इंडेंजर्ड स्पीशीज या वाटर वेटलैंड्स में, नेशनल पार्क्स में, सेंचुरीज में वीक हैं, तो आप उसको रटिए. मतलब व्हाट यू गेन फ्रॉम हियर हैज टू बी implemented here. And finally, do not neglect current affairs consolidation and revision as you complete your static topics. उसी के साथ अपना आप current affairs भी खत्म करते चलिए. Now you will have to adjust your routine based on weak areas, especially identify your weak subjects and specific topics where you are weak. As I told you, at the last hour of the day, allocate it specially for your weak areas. तो जब दिन खत्म हो रहा है तो दिन भर में जो भी आपने सबसे weak areas identify किए हैं across subjects, उनको अलग से पढ़िए. Use active recall techniques, क्विजेस क्रिएट करिए, फ्लैश कार्ड्स यूज़ कीजिए, जो भी मटेरियल मार्केट में अवेलेबल है उसको यूज़ कीजिए, बट कंसिस्टेंटली टेस्ट योरसेल्फ. माइंड मैप्स और विजुअल टेक्निक्स का भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं इफ़ यू आर क्रैमिंग अप अ लॉट ऑफ फैक्चुअल और स्टैटिस्टिकल डेटा इन अ शॉर्ट पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. एंड ऑल्दो मैं बहुत ज़्यादा इस चीज़ को इंकरेज नहीं करता हूँ, बट इफ़ यू हैव अ गुड स्टडी ग्रुप, इंगेज विद देम कि आई हैव प्रिपेयर्ड दिस टॉपिक टुडे, कैन यू टेस्ट मी, और कंसिस्टेंटली स्टे इन टच विथ योर मेंटर हु कीप्स अ ट्रैक एंड हु टेक्स इंटरेस्ट इन योर प्रिपरेशन. ही विल फाइन ट्यून योर schedule as per your performance. And as I said, daily and weekly tracking of where you are struggling, where you are doing well, what areas have worked well for you and what are not, that is very essential. Now as a bonus tip, what toppers have used to stay motivated, they always had micro goals. They did not always see the large picture. They also had monthly, weekly and daily targets. So even if things are a little what you call not very optimistic, the sheer fact that you are able to meet your daily goals will also help you. So अपने goals को break down करिए. Don't go for very ambitious targets. कोशिश करिए कि यू आर एबल टू अचीव अ सर्टन प्रोफिशिएंसी, सर्टन कंप्लीशन ऑफ सिलेबस ऑन डेली बेसिस. Then try to have some accountability partner, create a friend circle, talk to your mentor who consistently seek accountability from you. मतलब कोई ऐसा mechanism हो जो आपसे पूछे कि how are you performing if you are not that self-disciplined. Visual progress trackers, always keep a track of where your preparation is going. You can write down the chapter names, how much you have covered, how much is left to be covered. So don't just randomly pick up subjects. Have a good detailed plan as to what week, what you are supposed to do. An indicative idea we had given in the last video. And at this time, keep your social media interaction to a minimal and focus maximum on your studies only. Balance study with recreation. What I mean to see here is कि if you are fatigued with studying, if you are not able to push further, if you are not able to devote more hours, then instead of going to social media or watching Netflix or anything, social media or OTT, avoid this rather than go for sleep. Sleep is the investment. It will recharge your body. It will refreshen your mind. So remember, sleeping, as long as you are not sleeping for 16 hours, as long as you are anywhere between 6 to 8 hours, sleeping is an investment. तो अगर आपसे पढ़ाई नहीं हो पा रही है, आपका दिमाग थक गया है, आप परेशान हैं, और कुछ मत करिए, सो जाइए. Sleep is an investment. जितना आप इस चीज़ को better use करेंगे, किसी और चीज़ में अपना टाइम बर्बाद करने के बजाय, just take a nap. It will freshen up your mind and the next few hours of productivity would obviously see a boost. So that is my advice to you. And final words and call of action is stick to a routine that suits you. I have given you a sample routine. Modify it as per your specific situation. Always focus on evaluating your performance and adapting accordingly. Prioritize mock test based learning and performance tracking. ये नहीं होगा तो पढ़ने का कोई फायदा नहीं है. And focus on continuous improvement through strategic remedial actions. Identify the weakest areas, arrange your revision priority from weakest chapter towards the strongest chapters. Go for specific reading of areas where you are making a mistake and not A to Z whole soul revision again and again. So the better you utilize your time, the more commanding position you will have in the prelims exam. So in this context, as the video comes to an end, the last 1 minute I would use to tell you how can we at GS Score help you in the last 100 days. थोड़ा सा उस पे बात करते हैं. special program called PT Target, and I would take a few seconds of your time to highlight its major aspects. The program, we see it as an ultimate course because based on the micromanagement of the syllabus, each topic is micro detailed, and so that when you go for the topic coverage through this program, it is exhaustive and you are safe from any question which can be asked from in the UPSC prelims exam. So the most of the highlights are prelims targeted classes would be there, daily tests would be there, and you would be given a prelims test series which will focus on subject revision tests and sectional tests, and then you also would be given personalized mentorship through experienced faculties and mentors, and finally a very well crafted prelims study material. So as far as the course promises delivery, it is focusing on daily tests, prelims targeted classes, prelims study material which will include current and static both, and personalized mentorship, and finally revision tests which will be sectional and full test both. So we hope that this program would be immensely beneficial for you in your PT 2025 preparations. If you have any doubts or queries, feel free to reach us out at the IAS Score website and the details provided below. Thank you so much, and I'll be back soon with another thematic discussion on how you can ace your preparation for 2025 prelims very soon. God bless you, keep preparing, and best of luck.